keeps their eye on you? Con man, song in hand, who you singing to? The more I get to see, the less I understand. I'm just another ordinary man. Once I thought the truth was going to set me free. Now I feel the chains of its responsibility. I will not be a puppet. I will not play it safe. I will give myself away with a blind and simple faith. I'm just the same as you. I do the best I can. That's the only answer for an ordinary man. Good morning. And welcome to the Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Marietta, Georgia. My name is Michael Myers. I am the chairman of the building committee, a member of the choir when it's actually working and in progress, a member of the worship committee, or what are we calling this anymore? Worship team, okay. I'm a member of the worship team, and I'm a member of the CUPS group. I'd like to thank everybody for being here this morning. This is a congregation where we don't really have a denomination. We're here for everyone to find their own faith, and we are here to help you. Normally, and at this time, we are going to light our chalice, which is a symbol of our devotion to love and unity. And to do that, I have Douglas.
Morning, y'all. As Michael lights the chalice, the words today are from Linda Lee Franson. We light this flame to ignite our hearts and minds, the spark of knowledge that enlightens, the shimmering hope that burns, the blazing love that engulfs our actions, the bonfire of our commitment. Now we'd like to go ahead and let you take a moment to, we're small but mighty today, get up and greet your neighbors. Say hello. Good morning, y'all. Yeah, but I'm going to do the rainbow thing first. This morning, there's a special rainbow candle on the table to my left that was placed there by our Social Justice Committee. It is in commemoration of Pride Month, which just ended in June, yesterday. Isn't today the first? No, on Friday. June is Pride Month. This I'm reading a reading to you written by our own James Elliott. June was Pride Month in commemoration of the Stonewall Uprising that occurred on June 28, 1969 at the Stonewall Inn, a gay club in New York, where LGBTQ plus people protested for 6 days following the violent arrest of several patrons and employees of the bar. This followed a string of raids at gay clubs as LGBTQ plus individuals merely congregating together was at that time labeled disorderly conduct. Although the raided clubs were called gay bars, transgender and gender nonconforming members of the community were often particularly targeted. Transgender activists Marsha P. Washington and Sylvia Rivera, who were at the Stonewall raid, helped to create what was called then the Gay Liberation Movement. Pride, for many, is a time of celebration and also a time of remembering and a call to action. There are currently over 700 bills that have been introduced that are targeted at reducing LGBTQ plus rights, over 100 of which are targeted at transgender individuals. A recently released Gallup poll shows that for the first time ever, the percentage of people who find same-sex relations, quote, morally acceptable, actually dropped in the past year. At the same time, there are many joys to celebrate LGBTQ plus rights have come a long way, and many people are actively resisting these hate and fear-driven pieces of legislation, many of which have been put on hold or have been overturned. Here at Emerson, we celebrate all of our LGBTQ plus members and hold their sorrows with our own. Now we'll do our opening hymn, hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you here today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming online, too. I'm Susan Ullman, a member of our Emerson Pastoral Care team. At this time in our service, we pause and reflect on our joys, sorrows, and our concerns, and we light candles to honor them today. The 3 large white lit candles over there on the Candles of Care table honor the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of indigenous peoples who lived here before we have. Africans wrongly enslaved here, and all those hurting in conflicts across our globe, especially the people of Ukraine, suffering in that nation under siege. We have many to hold dear. Each Sunday you are here at Emerson, we invite you to light a candle at the Candles of Care table for who or whatever you're holding in your heart. Do it before the service. And we invite you to light a candle and place it nearby to honor who you're holding your heart if you joined us online. Keep the candle nearby. Please feel free to write a joy, a sorrow, or concern in this book or email it to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org to be read. Thank you, Doug, for lighting the candles of care this morning. With hearts open, let's hold these joys this morning. From Patricia Johnson, Kudos to my beloved Zenaida Peterson, whose poetry has been selected for publication in Boston, Massachusetts. Congratulations. Congratulations. And there's one from Susan Ullman, that's me. Mechanical Room 213 is in beautiful state. It's all cleaned up, everything is put away, it's clean and organized. I wish my home looked half that good. Okay, some Emerson Angel or Angels cleaned it all up. And all the stuff from there, from the HVAC work that has been done for many months here. We are so blessed. Thank you, angels. And we have a sorrow this morning from Ed and Kathy Cosper. We are mourning the loss of our nephew Arthur in Indianapolis. Caring thoughts and wishes are appreciated. They've endured so much loss. Joy, sorrows, and concerns still remain unspoken. So please say out loud or type in the chat if you're online, whoever you're holding in your heart today. My sister Judy Burkhart. In thankful awareness, let's say the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. Please repeat the words after me. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. Be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
Hello there. Was that too loud? Can you tell I've never spoken on a microphone before? Okay, so I don't need to scream. Okay. My name is Peggy Gastrite, and I'm a member of the Social Justice Committee. This month's Share the Basket is Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. I'm very excited about this. Oh, and it's the Georgia chapter, not the national chapter. The money will go to our own Georgia chapter. I'm very excited about this because I've been a member of this group since 2018. I joined because my heart breaks every time I hear about a school shooting. I'm also excited to introduce our representative from Moms Demand Action today, Bianca Lovelace. Bianca is a woman of action with a master's degree in criminal justice and public safety leadership. She is a board-certified death investigator with 18 years of experience, mainly focusing on juvenile death and child maltreatment cases. Bianca is passionate about saving lives and is currently the Be Smart program lead for the Cobb County chapter of Moms Demand Action. So please welcome Bianca Lovelace.
Thank you so much. And my voice carries. I did a lot of drama classes in college, and so I know how to speak to the back row. So if you blew us out with your voice, I'm going to stand way back here so that I don't ruin your hearing. As Peggy said, I was a death investigator for the state for almost 20 years, and I joined Moms Demand Action after I left that position because I always feel like there's more that we can do. We're clearly not doing enough on this issue as a society and as our government entities. They certainly cannot do it alone, so they need us in the community doing that boots-on-the-ground work, and I am so appreciative that you chose Moms Demand Action, our Georgia chapter, for your Share the Basket this month. It just means the world to me. A little bit about what we do with those funds. Here in Georgia specifically, we try to do as many community events as we possibly can. Here in Cobb County, I actually did a Touch a Truck event out in Paulding County with our Paulding chapter in April, as well as our Healthy Kids Day at the Wise. We had 3 different Wise represented for Healthy Kids Day. We are partnering with Cobb Collaborative. If any of you have the absolute privilege of working with Irene Barton, the director of the Cobb Collaborative, and so many different community events that they support. We have been working with Must Ministries, doing sandwich making events and food distribution events, because I'm sure, as many of you know, there is a huge overlap between gun violence and food insecurity. And so if we want to tackle one, we must tackle the other. And so when you're looking at a root cause analysis of gun violence, that is certainly one of the overlapping factors that we are trying to address. Our work goes in cycles. In the beginning of the year, it's during the legislative session. So when you see red shirts, they are highly politically active, and we participate in Advocacy Day, letter writing campaigns. And I wouldn't necessarily call it harassing our representatives, but we have been known to get pretty forceful with our state representatives about legislation that we feel will save lives. And so we move out of legislative session. Spring and summer is more about events in our community and going out and doing as much as we can to support the community. And so your funds directly contribute to that. I can tell you at Juneteenth, for example, if any of you have ever attended Juneteenth on the square, it is held on the surface of the sun. It is so hot at Juneteenth. And so we need tents, we need tables, we need to be able to print our flyers and pass out our literature. And as you know, all of those things cost money. And so just from a practical standpoint, that is what some of the funds go towards here in Georgia. When we move into the fall, we move into election season, and we do our best to get gun sense candidates elected. Candidates have to be vetted through Moms Demand Action and meet a certain list of priorities and commit to ending gun violence through legislation if they want to get that seal of approval from Moms Demand Action. The Be Smart work is all about education. So we try to go out into the community, and I will talk to anyone who will sit still long enough to listen about this message and about how we can prevent different types of deaths through gun violence. So that is, in a nutshell, what we do. And again, thank you so much for having me. I'm filling in for Maggie. Your program says Maggie, but she had a family emergency, and so I stepped in to try to help because I was so appreciative of you guys having us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will be speaking afterwards if anyone would like to join us. Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask Patricia Johnson to come and give our story for all ages.
Hello?
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, good morning, good morning. So I am going to be reading 3 poems today to the young and the young at heart. let me give credit. The book is called My First Oxford Book of Poems by John Foster. And I picked up the book from the children's section at Cobb County Public Library. And what's really cool is that this collection has poetry by people that we know, like Longfellow, probably poems we might have learned in school for those older, young at heart folks. But the first poem I'm going to read is by Milner, who wrote Winnie the Pooh. And this poem is called In the Dark. And Michael is going to be assisting me with this story troupe activity. In the dark, I've had my supper and had my supper and had my supper and all. I've heard the story of Cinderella and how she went to the ball. I've cleaned my teeth and I've said my prayers and I've cleaned and said them right. And they've all of them been and kissed me lots. They've all of them said good night. So here I am in the dark alone. There's nobody here to see. I think to myself, I play to myself, and nobody knows what I say to myself. Here I am in the dark alone. What is it going to be? I can think whatever I like to think. I can play whatever I like to play. I can laugh whatever I like to laugh. There's nobody here but me. I'm talking to a rabbit. I'm talking to the sun. I think I am 101. I'm lying in a forest. I'm lying in a cave. I'm talking to a dragon. I am brave. I'm lying on my left side. I'm lying on my right. I'll play a lot tomorrow. I'll think a lot tomorrow. I'll laugh a lot tomorrow. Good night.
So, the question is, what do you think about before you go to sleep at night? Go ahead.
I usually read a book, so after when I go to bed, I think of what would happen next. I usually make up all these wacky adventures.
Perfect. She said she reads a book at night and thinks about what's going to happen next in that story. Yes, go ahead.
Before I went to sleep, I said goodnight to Dad, because I know he always wants me to from heaven.
That's wonderful. Thinking about special people before you go to sleep, that is perfect. All right.
The next one is called The Wild, the Free, and this is written by Lord Byron. With flowing tail and flying mane, wide nostrils never stretched by pain, mouths bloodless to the bit of rein, and feet that iron never shod, and flanks unscarred by spur or rod. 1,000 horse, the wild, the free, like waves that follow over the sea. I should show you the picture.
So just like that horse, what makes you feel free? And anyone in the audience can answer, so some of the pressure is not all on just the two. Yes, Susan. Bravo. Yes.
Sing with songs that you feel free in the car with Mom.
You know, I've put on some pretty good concerts in my car. That's the best place to have a concert. All right.
The last one is Rainbows, and this is by Maura Andrew. A rainbow is like a painted smile turned upside down. It's a multicolored bridge spanning the streets of town. A rainbow is a brilliant band across my sister's hair. It's a fluorescent mountain piercing the morning air. A rainbow is a skipping rope for our playground game. It's a splash of colored ink lighting the sky with flame. A rainbow is a promise made before time grew old. It's a mysterious magic place hiding a pot of gold.
All right, by show of hands, how many people love a rainbow? And if it's glittery, you know it's better on my side. All right, let's sing our song.
And for our centering meditation, I will kind of calm you down, and then I will read a poem. Begin by taking a nice deep breath, maybe closing your eyes, lowering your eyes. Slow yourself down. Breathe in and breathe out slowly. Bring yourself down and relax. This is Cenacento by Peter Gabriel. Thick cloud, steam rising, hissing stone on sweat lodge fire. Around me, buffalo robe, sage and bundle rub on skin. Outside, cold air, stand, wait for rising sun. Red paint, eagle feathers, coyote calling, it has begun. Something moving in, I taste it in my mouth and in my heart. It feels like dying, slow, letting go of life. Now slowly bring yourself back to existence and awareness. Normally, I'd be showing something up on the screen right now of videos that I'd done in front of a green screen, but circumstances kind of changed. The main one being that Reverend Deborah left. And Reverend Deborah is the one who actually started me doing these Poetry Sundays as something for me to do during the summertime. It wasn't exactly my idea, and this is the fourth time I'm doing it. So next year I'd kind of like to do something else, because she actually had me assigned to do this 8 months ago. So she was fairly insistent that I should be doing this, and she's no longer here, and I'd like to do something a little different next year, if you don't mind. I'm not really wanting to do this again, at least not this way. Last year, doing 2112 was a lot of work. And Bruce was commenting that when he saw me, what I had done, he said, "What the heck? Did you spend weeks doing that or something?" So, yeah, it's a lot of work to do the videos and things like that, and I don't really want to do it anymore. But before I stop doing that, I thought I might explain exactly how I got to doing this, because quite frankly, I didn't do this before I came to Emerson. I only started doing this when I came here, and I thought I'd explain today why. So I want you to imagine you're in a sweat lodge. The sweat lodge has blankets and tarps over it such that it has no light. You can't see anything. You can't even see the hand in front of your face. The only light you're going to be able to see is the hot rocks in the middle of the sweat lodge, if you can do that. So if you think you're going to do a poem and read it, you're fat out of luck. There is no way that's going to occur. So you're sitting in the sweat lodge. They got the steam rolling. It's about 130 degrees inside the thing. It's hot, real hot. You sing for a while, throwing the drums, and then they ask for prayers. And if nobody else prayed, I do something like the following from The Way of the World by Genesis. Take the tears from crying eyes. Does the pain just disappear? Put a weapon in the hands of a frightened man. Will he show no fear? So we sit and we watch as the city lights, they go out one by one. And Mother Nature sits on the other side with a loaded gun. Take the motion from a spinning wheel and watch it stop. Take the danger out of a naked flame, and what have you got? If you take the anger from a broken heart, you feel no pain. Could you swear, if you had that second chance, you wouldn't do it again? And that's how I started learning my prayers, because the only way to pray inside of a sweat lodge is to memorize it if you're going to pray like this. And that's what I started doing. And I started learning from that there are certain aspects of that. The first of all is that when you actually learn a poem and do it such that you can memorize it, you start adding your own meaning to it. You can actually tell. I can actually tell very easily when somebody's up here reading a poem, because there's a different attitude, a different meaning they put to the words when they're reading it versus having it in their brain and actually expressing the poem as to what their heart means. It's a lot different. And the experience of doing that kind of transcends. When I do this, I kind of get into an experience. And that's what happens in a sweat lodge. It may be 130 degrees, but as soon as I start talking, I don't feel the heat. And so I have an experience every single time I do this. And I kept doing it, and I'd lined up, because we'd had 4 or 5 rounds, and I would have 4 or 5 prayers ready to go if nobody else spoke. And each time, it gave me an experience. And I have a poem that actually, or a song, that actually follows through with having an experience. And this is Salisbury Hill by Peter Gabriel. Climbing up on Salisbury Hill, I could see the city lights. Wind was blowing, time stood still. An eagle flew out of the night. He was something to observe. He came in close. I heard a voice, standing, stretching every nerve. I had to listen. I had no choice. I did not believe the information. I just had to trust imagination. My heart going boom, boom, boom. Son, he said, grab your things. I've come to take you home. To keep in silence, I resigned. My friends would think I was a nut. Turning water into wine, open doors would soon be shut. So I went from day to day, though my life was in a rut, until I thought of what I'd say, which connections I should cut. I was feeling part of the scenery. I walked right out of the machinery, my heart going boom, boom, boom. Hey, he said, grab your things. I've come to take you home. When illusion spin her net, I'm never where I want to be. In liberty, she pirouette when I think that I am free. Watched by empty silhouettes who close their eyes but still can see. No one taught them etiquette. I will show another me. Today, I don't need a replacement. I tell them what the smile on my face meant. My heart going boom, boom, boom. Hey, I said, you can keep my things. They've come to take me home. But then I run into a little bit of a problem. When you're actually doing prayers, you kind of want to pray about what you feel, what you believe. And I have a little bit of a problem because by the definition of the word atheist, I'm an atheist. It's kind of hard to find a prayer when you're an atheist. The thing is, I'm also part of the pagan group, and I'm part of the pagan group because I have a small sliver of belief that is kind of a little bit above not believing in God. I basically believe in Gaia. I just don't believe that Gaia is a god, if you will. Gaia is not all-powerful, all-knowing. She's not helping me very much. She's not listening to me very much. She's out there doing her own thing, not really recognizing I'm here. I'm a little part of her, and I can make a difference. I can hurt her. I can help her. But that's about it. It's a little itty-bitty amount of movement. Some would say that there's a different, they question whether, we have free will or everything's preordained. And I'm kind of like 95% is preordained, and I've got about 5% of free will in there kind of pushing it along. Just part of the scenery. So what exactly do I do for a prayer in a sweat lodge that tries to explain my faith, if you will? And so I've got 3 of them, and the first one is Totem, by lyrics by Neil Peart, and he's the drummer for Rush, and I'm very fond of Neil Peart, so we're going to do several of them today. This is Totem. I have 12 disciples and a Buddhist smile. Garden of Allah, Viking Valhalla, a miracle once in a while. I have a pantheon of animals and a pagan soul. Vishnu and Gaia, Aztec and Maya dance around my totem pole. I believe in what I see. I believe in what I hear. I believe that what I'm feeling changes how the world appears. The second one, also by Neil Peart, is called Faithless. I don't believe in beliefs. I don't have faith in faith. You could call me faithless. You could call me faithless. But I still cling to hope. And I believe in love. And that's faith enough for me. That's faith enough for me. The last one, and I may have to read this one a little bit because it's been a while since I've done this one, is Truth of the Heart by Melissa Etheridge. Deep down inside, I think we're all the same. Try not to judge someone and never shame. I do believe that people are good. They just want hope and respect and to be understood. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's strange. But the truth of the heart is that people can change. There is no magic. There are no secrets. We all begin this race at the start. And I have come this far with the truth of the heart. When you're part of the choir, and I've been part of the choir now for about 5 years, I think it is, One of the things you do is you learn the notes of the song, you learn the words of the song, and we're going along, and it's been a week, we've practiced it 2 or 3 times, and then Kathy goes, sing the song like you're singing the phrase, because we've all learned the words, and we haven't got a clue what the song means. And Kathy does a very good job of selecting songs to bring words and phrases and meaning to this congregation. And we lose it many times trying to figure out just how we're going to sing the song. I mean, I'll be the first one to admit, I don't sing very well. I mean, I'm far from the better singers up there. So I'm working real hard looking at my music, trying to figure out what the notes I'm trying to sing are, what the words I'm trying to sing are, make a phrase out of it. Well, that's getting a little bit difficult sometimes. Especially when you do songs like, I think it was Walk a Mile. Walk a Mile was if you weren't, for the bass section, if you weren't looking at the music, you weren't singing the music at all because it was up, down, all around, everywhere you could go. Really a tough piece. So it was really tough to get into the expression of that one. Sometimes it's got a nice flow and it's easy to do the expression, but there are a few pieces where it's a little more difficult. And this is true of probably the first song in my life where I had been singing a song for about 10 years. I knew all the words and didn't know the meaning of the song. And when I finally read the song, well, I kind of found a meaning that was a little bit different for me, and it kind of changed my life. And at that point is where I started reading my music. Because, you know, it's supposed to be having a meaning, and here I am singing the song, and I haven't got a clue what the meaning is. Unfortunately, Reverend Deborah never liked me actually reading these types of poems because there's a little bit of a problem with it in that she doesn't like me doing Christian bashing. And unfortunately, if I'm going to work on saying things about the injustice of indigenous people in this country, I'm going to have to kind of do a little bit of Christian bashing. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. And that's the way this song. Let's see. The other part of this is that I don't know the first 2 verses of this song. I memorized the last verse. It's a rather long song, so I'm going to have to actually read the first 2 verses, if you don't mind, when I do this, and then I'll open up with the third one. You'll probably be able to tell when I stop reading and when I start doing it memorized. This is The Last Resort by the Eagles. She came from Providence, the one in Rhode Island, where the old world shadows hang heavy in the air. She packed her hopes and dreams like a refugee, just as her father had came across the sea. She heard about a place people were smiling. They spoke about the red man's ways and how they loved the land. They came from everywhere to the Great Divide, seeking a place to stand or a place to hide. Down in the crowded bars, out for a good time. Can't wait to tell you all what it's like up there. They called it paradise. I don't know why. Somebody laid the mountains low while the town got high. Then the chilly winds blew down across the desert, through the canyons of the coast to the Malibu, where the pretty people play, hungry for power, to light their neon way, give them things to do. Some rich men came and draped the land. Nobody caught them. Put up a bunch of ugly boxes, and Jesus, people bought them. They called it paradise, the place to be. They watched the hazy sun sinking in the sea. You can leave it all behind and sail to Lahaina. just like the missionaries did so many years ago. They even brought a neon sign that said, Jesus is coming. They brought the white man's burden down. They brought the white man's reign. Who will provide the grand design? What is yours and what is mine? Because there's no more new frontier. We've got to make it here. We satisfy our endless needs and justify our bloody deeds in the name of destiny and in the name of God. And you can see them there on Sunday morning. They stand up and sing about what's like up there. They call it paradise. I don't know why. You call someplace paradise, kissing it goodbye. As a member of the worship team, it's kind of important that you kind of have backups. And I have to admit, we kind of had a problem this morning because we had no AV team here for a very long time, and we had to call up Josh to come in a little early and I'd like to thank Josh for coming in because otherwise we wouldn't be doing this very well. So there's always emergencies that come in. And one of those emergencies has to do with the words for the chalice. And Reverend Deborah always wanted us to essentially have backup words, because last thing we don't want is no words for the chalice light. Can't light the chalice otherwise. The thing is, after about 5 years of doing this, I've never actually had the chance to use my backup words. And so as my parting poem for this morning, before Bruce enlightens us with his great words, I'd like to do my backup chalice lighting words. This is, again, by Neil Peart, the last verse from Cygnus X1, Part 2. We can walk together if our goals are all the same. We can run alone and free if we pursue a different aim. Let the truth of love be lighted. Let the love of truth shine clear. Sensibility, armed with sense and liberty, with the heart and mind united in a single perfect sphere. Thank you for listening to this Sunday's Poetry Sunday. And Bruce.
So Michael, thank you very much. I loved your message. I just want to say a couple words before I play something. My apologies to Michael. There are no words to this on Poetry Sunday. This is a piece of music I started writing in middle school, and it was before I had words to express who I was. And so it was a tumultuous time for me. Puberty, I think, is for a lot of people. And I never wrote words to this, and I probably never will. It's a piece that's grown over time, and so it can be a little dark, it can be a little playful, but it's ongoing. So thank you. It's called Breaking Light.
All right, Bruce, you're forgiven for having no words. For our closing words today, I'd like to dedicate the closing words to Reverend Deborah. This is Change by Melissa Etheridge. I don't know where I'm going. I'm not quite sure where I've been. No matter how hard I try to hold it in my hands, I can't stop the wind from blowing. And so it goes. This too shall pass away. It got so strange. The only thing that stays the same is change. And now, rise as you are able for hymn number 1007 in the teal hymnal. It is, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. 1007.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing in my soul.
We hope that you've been nourished in heart and mind by our worship today. If you'd like more information about Unitarian Universalism or about Emerson, please stop by our welcome table by the front door. Please plan to join us next week as our Voices of Emerson series continues with Bernadine Cataletta speaking about the nightmare we live in. As Mike extinguishes our chalice this morning, please join me in our final words. They're posted in the chat and in the order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Please join us for refreshments in our fellowship room and go out this way so Millie doesn't get upset. And for those who are online, please also stay tuned and you'll be able to go to virtual breakout rooms. At 11:20, we're going to have service reflections here in the sanctuary, and also the Moms Demand Action will be in the social justice room to provide more information. There is no youth religious education this week because of the holiday. Our service is now concluded, but our connection has only begun. And I'll say it even though she's not here. Go now in peace, and take peace wherever you go.
You're welcome. Yeah.